Hi everyone, I am back to do a simple neutral makeup. I was filming this look because I needed to put on some makeup for my Romand gloss swatch video, and so I just figured I'd go ahead and film it. It's going to be a pretty easy look. It's just very neutral with a pop of pink. Definitely have done something like this on my channel before, so don't come after me. I am testing a couple of random new products in this video too, so I think it'll be a fun time. So to start off with, I'm just adding some hydration to my skin, and then I'm going to use my favorite Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener. Now, I had previously placed a Sephora order. I can't remember what it was, but it was during a promotion for a HAUS Labs deluxe size sample for their foundation. Now, of course, I didn't place the order because of the promotion. If there's a promotion going on like that coincidentally, I will take part. So I am going to be using this cute little foundation. The only shade that was available that would have matched me the best was Fair 40, which is, if I were to buy this, would not have been the shade I'd go for. But as you can see, it's not actually all that bad. I think I would prefer 30 or something like that, just undertone wise. But anyways, I liked it at first, but then it just showed my texture so badly, and I was kind of just exploring, looking around online later, trying to figure out why I sometimes have this problem where my foundation just really shows all of my pores and stuff. And I realized that I'm probably making a very old school mistake of mixing up my primers and my foundations. It's not really something I had ever taken super seriously, because I always figured, well, if the makeup is good, it should work with anything, right? But I think one thing I'm going to try and focus more on in 2024 is actually matching my primers to my foundations. That might be a good idea, right? So I looked at the ingredients list and I noticed that the HAUS Labs foundation did have a lot of silicone in it, and I was using mostly water-based moisturizers. So I will continue to try this foundation with other things. Now, after using my concealer, I just used a liquid concealer because I didn't want to dry out my under eyes. I am going to be using a loose powder just to set certain parts of my face. I was considering using cream products, which is why you see I'm only setting kind of the center of my face. My camera crashed midway through me recording my eyebrows, but out of all the footage to lose, this is probably the most harmless footage to lose. So you can see I just skipped straight into my brow flick, which I love very much. And then I will, just finish up my brows really quick. Wow, I let some of this footage go on for a very long time when I was editing this. Anyways, I'm going to be using a smorgasbord of eyeshadow palettes today. Just what I tend to do when I feel like trying to just play with makeup and relax, is I just like to use all of my palettes. I mean, I have so many. So I'm starting off with the Glam eyeshadow palette, which is one of my favorite ones, especially the dark brown I used to use on my eyebrows all the time. So I do actually have quite the dip in that, but you can see that I'm just using some of the lighter toned shades in this palette. I do really like to travel with this palette a lot. I have traveled with it before, so definitely one of my favorites. I do like I Need a Nude more than Glam now, but back when before I Need a Nude came out, Glam was like one of my favorite NATASHA DENONA palettes of all time, so I do quite like it. So as you can see, I'm just trying to create a nice even blend. I accidentally over applied eyeshadow on my left eye, as you can see there, so I'll be spending a lot of time fixing it later. Oops. Yeah, you can see here I'm just using one of the lighter shades in the palette to try and blend that out, and then I'll go and finish the lower lash line. I used two of the darker browns to make this look. I just forgot to show you which shade I used. But it was one of the darker browns. I used the brown and then I used a darker brown. That makes no sense. Okay, so the pink I'm going to be pulling from the Retro Glam eyeshadow palette. There definitely were a multitude of places for me to pull a pop of pink from, but I wanted to go with something more subdued, and I just wanted to use another NATASHA DENONA palette just because I felt like it. So I'm using this pink. It is very subdued, so I definitely could have gone for something more punchy, but I didn't feel like it. I did leave in pretty much all the footage of me making a shadow wing, because I know some people, especially those who have monolids like me, really like it when I leave in as much of my eyeliner footage as possible, because eyeliner for monolids can be so tough. So I left that in for you guys. I sped up some of it, but hopefully that can help whoever is having trouble. Definitely it takes a lot of trial and error, And then as you can see, I'm trying to practice and get better at doing Douyin inspired lower lash line work. I think I did a pretty good job. I feel like one of the mistakes I used to make was I just would really overdo it, so I'm really trying to pull back and do a lot less, and I think that is helping. Still not quite there yet, but I think we're getting a little bit better. A little bit, marginally. Okay, and then just to blend out everything, I'm going to go into my CLIO Shade and Shadow palette in 01 Shadow Gallery. This palette has been such a sleeper hit for me. I end up using this palette way more than I thought I would, and I absolutely love it. So for anybody who is looking for a super neutral tone palette that's not too warm or cool, I do recommend it. I do quite like it. Now here's where I made a huge mistake. I thought I would introduce a little bit of a dark shimmer, but then, and using my finger, I should have stopped there. But the moment I started using a brush, I put on way too much. So, of course, I had to replicate that mistake on the other eye, but I was so mad when I did this. So I'm gonna go back in with my light shade from Shade and Shadow Shadow Gallery to try and blend that out to the best of my ability. Yeah, that honestly, that kind of ruined it, so I am going to go in with this lighter tone shimmer and use that to cover up most of that screw up so that you're not paying attention to it. Yeah, I shouldn't have done that, oh well. As you can see, that is a very beautiful shade, and then I'm going to use one of these smoother, lighter toned metallics in Glam for my inner corner. As you can see, very, very bright. This is a beautiful inner corner shade for me. And then I'm going to use a slightly darker one that is a little bit more satin on the lower lash line, just so that the lower lash line doesn't stand out too much. However, I think this shade might have been a little too subtle for me, so I do go back in and pizzazz it up just a little bit later, you will see. Yeah, so I'm gonna go and use this sparkly shadow from the CLIO palette just to add a little bit more pizzazz to the eye look. Those two sparkly shades in the CLIO Shade and Shadow palette are just insanely beautiful. Truly, Korean shadows that are that sparkly formula are just so unmatched in the industry. I think the only other place you can get shadows that are that sparkly is honestly from Chinese beauty brands. There really is so few Western equivalents. For my mascara, I just used my ETUDE HAUS mascara thing, and then I used an Estee Lauder mascara, and the only reason I was using that is because my mom bought some holiday Estee Lauder sets on sale for her relatives in China, and none of them wear mascara, and she doesn't wear mascara, so she took the mascara out and gave it to me, and I just figured I'd use it just because why not? Nothing like opening a new mascara. For this blush, I actually used one of the cushions from the Jacqueline Cosmetics line. It is terrible on the lips, but it was the exact shade of pink I wanted on my cheek, so I tried it, and because it is so dry, it actually works beautiful as a matte liquid blush, so I will just keep using them that way from now on. NARS Laguna bronzer, old favorite. I've had this for a while now. Absolutely love it. And then for my highlighter, I'm just going to continue to indulge myself in my Givenchy loose highlighter. I heard there's a new shade coming out for spring. I'm very excited. It looks very pink. Totally up my alley. I think I'm probably going to go ahead and get it whenever it releases. Really hoping it's not like Asia exclusive or some shenanigans. And then I'm going to use this more subtle shimmer shade in the Shade and Shadow palette. This is an amazing face highlighter, FYI. Truly, the Shade and Shadow palette is so beautiful. I love it so much. It is just so underrated, even in CLIO, even for people who know and follow CLIO. I feel like nobody has been talking about these Shade and Shadow palettes. The 01 is just amazing. The other two in the series felt kind of mediocre to me. Like I don't own either of them, but this one is amazing. Like it goes from so light to so dark. It's just perfect. To cover up some of the texture problems I was having, I am going to use another setting slash finishing powder. This one is from Amelie. I do quite like it. Very winter friendly since it is more of a finishing powder than a setting powder. Lastly, I'm going to use some lip liner, and then I'm going to be using a Romand lip gloss. This footage is going to overlap and be reused in my gloss swatch footage later, so don't mind that. First impression, it is okay. It's a lot more sheer than I expected, and I think I used the wrong color lip liner. I was hoping that this would be a little bit more opaque than it is. So by the end of this look, my lip liner is still quite visible, which not a good look on me, so I do apologize for that. But I think overall it looks alright, so I will go ahead and end here, and then you will hear me talking for the end of the video. Okay, so this is going to be my finished look. So as you can see, I just did a very easy, simple look. I've probably done something similar to this on my channel before, but I basically was just trying to pull together a look I can use to film my lip swatches of the new Romand Glasting glosses, which I'm about to do right after this. Yeah, I just used some old favorites, some other random products that I wanted to use, and other things. My lashes are still dropping a little bit even after I tried my best to wait for it to dry and everything, so I feel like this Mascara Fixer is not as strong as some of the older ones I've used. I wonder if maybe I got the wrong version. This one says it's Perfect Lash. I wonder if maybe there's like a renewal version of like the curl lashes or something. I may have to look into those, but I feel like I'm kind of feeling a little bit let down that this isn't really holding up my curl to the extent that I thought it would. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but considering that I have like no lashes, I really need my curl to stay as good as possible, and it's just not really doing that. So I'll have to keep experimenting, but this is just my makeup look now. I, so far, do not really have the greatest first impression of this HAUS Labs foundation. I feel like before I powdered and even after I powder, it's showing so much texture, not flattering to my pores at all. I know my skin has been really dry lately, but I feel like my foundation, my skin does not look that good today. You can kind of see like right here, you can see all this texture. I used my basic moisturizer after I washed my face. I used some setting spray before I put on primer, and then I put this on top. So I wonder if I just need to try different primers. I'm going to try this with some other primers, maybe ones that are a little bit more blurring, maybe some pore control primers, and see what happens, because this actually was surprisingly dewy and hydrating. So I think I can get away with using a little bit less hydration underneath. I also do need to figure out how I can exfoliate my skin. My skin has been so crazy flaky now that it's drier. It's never been this bad, so I really need to figure out how to exfoliate all that. I'm sure that'll help too, but yeah, not the biggest fan of this so far, although the shade match was pretty cool. Like, I did like that the shade match is not bad. This was like the only shade I could pick in the light range during the Sephora sample promo, so if I were to buy this, I wouldn't be buying this shade specifically. I have a different shade I'd buy instead, but the undertone is pretty cool, so I do like the undertones of this range, but I'll keep experimenting with that. But this is going to basically just round up this video. Super simple, nothing groundbreaking. I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys don't mind the voiceovers so far. It's just so much easier for me to film those because I just don't always feel like talking while I'm doing my makeup. I just want to relax and focus on the makeup. Like, it's currently I'm just trying to make it like more of like just a therapeutic meditative experience because I've been so stressed, so I just don't really want to talk when I'm doing my makeup right now. But with that all being said, hopefully I will catch you guys in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.